Okay, I think I am live. Can we do the usual, please? Can somebody give me a yes if you can hear me and you can see me? I'm not doing anything until I know you can hear me and see me. It's pointless, absolutely pointless. I'm Easy Vegan. Am I okay? Let me know, please. I've got one viewing at the moment. Loud and clear. Thank you. I'm Easy Vegan. Welcome to Grumpy Vegan Grandad, to another epic live chat. Today I have with me a gentleman named Karl Fogg. He's got a great story to tell us all. He's got a great idea for us all to sort of look at and think about and invest in, maybe. So let's see who's in the house to start off with. Yes, we've got Satan inside. We've got Hangarad's Life. Hello. We've got Leslie Kenton. I've not seen your name before. Hello there. I'm Easy Vegan. Flocky Helga. Or is it Flocky Helga? Hello there. Stupid Vegan. Hello there. Okay, so that's it for now. Bryn, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, mate? Right, okay, I'm going to bring you on a little later, mate. Might be 20 minutes or so. Okay, so guys, I know you want to meet the gentleman in question. I mean, I know I'm a good-looking fella, but this guy is something else. So let's bring him on. Let's bring on Mr. Fogg, and let's see what this guy is all about. Yes, Mr. Fogg, I can see you.
Hi guys.
So, do you want to introduce yourself to the people out there, Karl?
I'm Karl. Apparently, I'm the most beautiful vegan in the world ever, or I can't remember the exact title. I think it was something like the world or the universe, which obviously is ludicrous. You can see me now. So I'm not even the most beautiful vegan in our house. I'm third to my wife and my dog. So when I entered the competition, it was one of those things that just comes through. And because I support her, they emailed me and said, "Oh, do you want to enter this? You're over 50." And I thought, well, why would I enter a beauty contest? And at the bottom of the screen, it said, whoever we choose as our winner will have to talk to the press. So I thought, well, I'm in, because I'm an activist. I talk to people all the time. Give me half a chance, I'll tell you I'm vegan, and I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you why you should be. So that was it for me, really. I just wanted a bigger platform so that I could get the message out there to more people, get a wider audience, and spread the word. So that was kind of my thing, really. And I entered it not really expecting to win. I don't suppose anyone really expects to win. And then I got told I was in the final, and then they emailed me to say you've won. So that was a bit of a surprise, and a lot of good things came from it. I ended up doing some cooking on BBC Northwest Tonight, which was great, and I did an interview with them, which was also great. Bit of live radio, which was interesting, nerve-wracking, but also great. And I got in the local press and various other things. So I did manage to get the message out there to quite a few people. COVID put a stop to some of the things that PETA had planned, because I can't
God damn it.
Yeah, and here we are. So yeah, my activism, like a lot of people, if you're activists, activism has gone online now. I do most of mine on Facebook, so I'll go on the Farmers Union Facebook page or something like that and have a little chat with them, and it's all friendly and we all get on really well. And nobody really listens to me, but that's the way activism's gone now. I know lots of my friends have gone on TikTok and they're on YouTube, like you, Danny, and people are just using different platforms, and we're still getting results. So it's all good. We can't go out in the streets and do the cubes of truth and things, but at least we can have one-to-ones with people. And I think sometimes they work out better, because you can have a proper conversation. You can go back at people, they can come back at you, and if you get a live one, as I call them, which someone who's engaging with you and they're not just trolling, you can start to answer their questions in a constructive way. And eventually you get someone that it kind of clicks with, and I'll usually give them my number. And the next thing I know, they're texting me saying, I'm stood in the aisle, in the fruit and veg aisle in Aldi. What do I buy for tea? So, we are able to change these things. So we're still up and running and still doing that.
I mean, I must admit, if I'd have entered this competition, mate, you wouldn't have even got a look in, right? I mean,
mate.
Listen, I've got the rugged look. You've got the smooth sort of classy look, but it's veganism is all about the rugged look, the earthy look. And I mean, can I ask the people in the comments if Grumpy Vegan Grandad had entered this competition, right? If you think I would have won, press 1. If you think Karl would have still won, press 2. So let's see what the votes are. But what I'm going to do, Karl, is I am going to interrupt our little conversation because a little bit of news has popped up today. I've been contacted by someone, and it's local to me, and it's local to you also, actually, because it's only an hour away from you. And I feel it's a very, very important issue. So I'd like to have a chat about it. What are people saying here? Oh, I'm Easy Vegan. I knew you'd go for 2. Flocky Helga. Satan Vegan Mooncat. Katrina. These are all my friends.
Well, I did get dressed up for the occasion.
Oh, man. Do you know this guy? He's even bought a beauty light. He's got a ring light in front of him now to make him look. It's all smoke and mirrors, my friend.
To qualify that, my daughter's bought me this light, which until 5 seconds ago I didn't know was called a beauty light. Because I do a lot of cooking. I have an Instagram page where I teach people how to cook vegan, and because usually the next thing after, who was that giving it a 1?
It's Angarad's Life. She's got taste. A dear friend of mine is a vegan man over 50. If he had been counted, it would have been a close call, in my opinion. Vegan men age well. Yes, they do, Kat. Yes, they do. And why do we age well? Because we're putting the correct fuel into our bodies.
Yeah,
we put the correct fuel into our bodies. Not always, because we all know it's a whole food plant-based diet is optimal. I mean, sometimes I'm putting single malt whiskey into my body. Sometimes it's red wine, but that is one of your 5 a day, because as far as I know, grapes are one of your 5 a day. So there's nothing wrong with that. Right. Well, listen, let's take a break from this. Say again, Karl, because if you speak at the same time as me, we muffle each other out. Say again, sorry.
Sorry. I should mention this is my first ever time on YouTube, so I don't exactly know what I'm doing.
You're doing well, mate. All you've got to do is talk, smile at the camera, and look beautiful, which obviously you haven't got a problem doing.
Well, I do.
Right, okay, people. I'm going to bring Bryn Pritchard on in a minute. I'm just going to show you why I'm bringing Bryn Pritchard on today and interrupting this stream. Karl, I've talked to Karl about it. He's quite happy about this because I do feel it's very important and it's very local to us. I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to show you guys what I've been shown today. And it is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So, what is the Community Trap Loan Scheme? For red squirrels to return to the Knowsley estate and surrounding areas, Knowsley is just short of Liverpool, by the way, between Manchester and Liverpool, all grey squirrels must be removed. We cannot hope to achieve this without the support of local residents through a Community Trap local scheme. If you live or have land within Knowsley, St Helens, West Lancashire or Sefton, you are eligible for the CTLS. The trap you will receive will be a live catch trap for the purpose of trapping grey squirrels for humane dispatch. You can choose to either dispatch yourself in which case full training will be provided. They're going to train you how to kill fucking squirrels. Or have one of our Red Ranger volunteers to come and dispatch it for you. So you can join this scheme, murder a squirrel, or get some murderous bastard to come and murder it for you. Absolutely ridiculous. And the worst thing is about all this is that the grey squirrel is not responsible for the decline of the red squirrel. Now, I have researched it myself, but I'm sure Bryn will be able to put it a bit more eloquently than me. So I am going to bring Bryn onto the stream now. Hello, Bryn.
I am.
Can you tell us all about this, my friend, please? Because we're all absolutely disgusted with this.
I'm completely with you on that one. Basically, it's a scheme that's been launched in conjunction with Knowsley Safari Park, I believe, and it's also being backed by the lottery. They're essentially got a...
Hold on a minute. Stop there. So our lottery money, which is supposed to be for the arts, is going towards murdering grey squirrels that have been scientifically proven not to be the cause of the decline of the red squirrel.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow. Okay.
Essentially, it's a scheme. Then, which you pretty much put the top and bottom of it in your introduction. There's a scheme available where you can borrow traps or loan traps to go out and put in your gardens, put in woodland, basically distribute them wherever you want to distribute them, in the aim to catch grey squirrels to be dispatched. I'm not sure what traps they're using, but I am a bit concerned by this because certainly areas of Sefton border onto land where there are red squirrels. And if you trap a red squirrel, you are actually breaking the law. Now, the traps they're using will just be the basic traps which won't discriminate between grey squirrels and red squirrels. So they're actually, in some areas, encouraging people to break the law, as well as wanting people to go out and kill squirrels, which is pretty sick in itself.
Presumably, they're going to ignore that law in the same way as they ignore the Hunting Act.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a regular, I say regular, semi-regular cull of grey squirrels in Formby because they are starting to encroach on the pine forest where there are a lot of red squirrels. Now, the red squirrels that are there are the same red squirrels that are pretty much in pots and small areas throughout the UK. Those squirrels are not actually native British squirrels either. They're not the native UK red squirrels. Most of those were killed out in the 1800s because squirrel fur became the height of fashion for fur coats for ladies. So the squirrel population was almost decimated. So they brought squirrels in from Northern Europe and Central Europe into the UK to fill the void.
I've just been looking at this.
Is it the ICARS website? Yeah,
the graph. Yeah. And it's not even grey squirrels that are... Oh my word, thank you, Flocky Helga. Thank you for that. A super chat. Thank you so much. That is much appreciated. That will go to the Dean Farm Animal Sanctuary. Thank you so much for that. So 53% of red squirrels are being killed by traffic accidents.
Yeah. Most red squirrels in the UK are killed in traffic accidents. The problem we have with red squirrels is they're a niche species, and we encroached into their land.
Yeah, because sorry, Bryn. It even says here that 14% of the deaths are caused by cats and dogs. So the more people have cats and dogs, the more of these red squirrels are going to get killed.
Yeah, I mean, we basically ate into the woodlands and the forests where they lived quite happily. They didn't destroy the trees as a lot of people thought they did. And because of us moving in and encroaching into the space, we compressed the amount of area that they had to live in. And the space that was left, the little bits of space that were left, were better suited to the migrant grey squirrels that we also brought in.
Thank you so much, Ekaterina, for that super chat. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. So I've linked down below the link to the trapping thing. Now, I wonder what would happen if everybody registered for the traps and then got the traps and then burnt them on a bonfire.
It would make a very happy Bryn.
Is that what we should be sort of asking people to do?
Whilst I love the idea, I don't think it'll work for two reasons. I think the traps are most likely going to be made out of metal these days, so they won't burn too well. There's no reason why you can't crush them, but then I can't also get on board with sort of saying
right. I'm going to mute Bryn. I'm going to mute Bryn now. So Bryn is now muted, so he can't say anything. Right? People out there, go on the link below, click on it, register, get a trap, and then scrap it, or just keep it for a little memento, or maybe you might be able to keep nuts in and make something out of it. But I would say do that and register. I mean, I don't know what else we can do apart from hit Knowsley Safari Park. I'll unmute Bryn now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, is there anything else we can do? There is a Facebook page.
There's a Facebook group which has been launched by a couple of local animal rights groups. There are leafleting and they're organising a petition as well. Get on there.
Sorry, just ignore me when I do that, Bryn. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, get on there. Join the group. Get in there. Go out. Drop leaflets. Do whatever you can. The simple truth is there's no plan to reintroduce red squirrels into the areas where the grey squirrels are being culled, and the local red squirrels are quite happy where they are. They're not looking to migrate out into other areas. So this is just a call for grey squirrels. Well, basically, from what I can see, for giggles more than anything else, because there is no official plan to bring any more red squirrels into the areas where they clear the greys.
And another reason is that there's only certain trees and forest types that these red squirrels live in, and according to some of these graphs, these habitats are disappearing. It says here Douglas fir is good for reds. There's only been a 3% rise in that. The European larch, which is good for reds, is a minus 34% in new trees. -3. So everything that is good for reds to live in has been dropped in percentages, even more so in Scotland. So it's the habitat, it's civilization encroaching onto the areas, and it's automobiles. It's nothing to do with the grey squirrels. So this is a pointless task. So they're doing this for nothing.
Absolutely.
It sounds very much, guys, like the badger cull, where they were paying people 50 quid, farmers 50 quid a badger.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah. And there's no evidence other than to suggest that that badgers cause bovine TB.
It is absolutely exactly the same.
Right, Michelle, if you're going to make suggestions, right, I want answers, not more problems, right? Just find a postcode in Sefton, Knowsley, or St Helens, right? Get an address and just put that address in. Just get that address in. Just put anybody's address in. That's what I'm suggesting. Do put anybody's address in. Go on Google Earth, look for an address, put that address in. Sod it. You're saving an animal's life. Who gives a shit?
You could go on a letting agent's website, and all the properties that are to let and therefore are occupied use those addresses, and they'll just send them to vacant properties.
You're as naughty as me, Carl. You see, when you get to a certain age, Bryn, right?
I'm of that certain age as well. I'm not shy of 50 myself.
Oh, right, cool. So what it is, there's a little thing in your brain. It's called the give a shit nodule, and that slowly decreases over time. When you hit 50, it actually disappears, the give a shit, and you no longer give a shit.
I am riding that roller coaster.
Right, well, listen, there's nothing more I can say on that apart from the link for the Facebook group is down below, people. So please join the Facebook group. If you feel like doing some action and you live in the local area, Knowsley is about halfway between Manchester and Liverpool. It's about a 40-minute drive from Manchester, maybe an hour.
It's 20 minutes outside St Helens.
20 minutes outside St Helens. So if you're in that area, guys, and there's anything you can do, email Knowsley Safari Park and say, what the are you lot doing? I thought you were for animal conversation, not for animal murder, you know? So if there's anything you can do, I remove my number 2 retraction. I vote 1. Thanks, Vegan Mooncat, for that. Thank you so much. So listen, Bryn, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Been a pleasure to be hanging out with 2 such handsome men.
I tell you what, I'm going to leave you on the stream. I'm going to leave you on the stream. No, but I appreciate it. And will you please keep in contact with me? Please let me know how this goes. And if there's anything else I can do to publicise this, I will do. So just keep nudging me because I do get distracted easy. So over Sunday, tomorrow, just give me a shout and say, hey, Danny, put something on your Facebook page again, please. Put something on Instagram.
Yeah, happy to do that, Danny.
Cheers, Brim. Thank you so much, mate. Speak to you soon.
It's been a pleasure. Lovely to meet you too, Carl. See you again soon. Bye now.
Ken. Bye-bye.
So has Vegan Mooncat defected?
Sorry?
Has Vegan Mooncat defected?
Yes, he's defected. He's retracted his number 2 and he's gone for number 1, see? Because what he's done, he's actually put his glasses on.
Or maybe it was when I put mine on. Maybe it just tipped the balance.
Okay, so I've told you what to do, Michelle, for God's sake. Right, let's talk about you, Carl. Let's talk about you now. So, can I ask you your age right now?
I'm 57.
57. You're looking good, kid. You're looking good at 57.
I'm hoping to hang on to the title for 3 years and then enter the most beautiful vegan over 60 competition in 2025. That's the plan.
Sweet.
This is a career plan.
I'll do the over 51 then because I'll still be in that bracket. So yeah, we're okay then.
Yeah, I'll be out then. I'll be out of that league. So
yes, I've got a chance. So how long have you been vegan, brother?
Nearly 6 years, about 5.5, 6 years. I don't have a date as such. You know, a lot of people have a day and they just know that was the day they made the decision.
Well, do you know how I know my day? Is me Instagram. I was telling everybody for the first 6 months of my YouTube story, I was vegan 5 years. I wasn't. I found out on Instagram that I actually noted the day and it was September. Well, it will be 5 years next September. So what made you change? What made you make that transition? Because you would have been what age 6 years ago? You would have been like just gone 50. Yeah. So after 50 years of eating meat, animal products, what made you switch? It's a bit weird, isn't it?
My daughter, Stephanie, if you're watching, hi, love you.
Hi, Stephanie.
So I have 3 kids and the cook in the house. My wife has a couple of illnesses that really she can't stand in one place and do things like that. So I took over the cooking 30 years ago. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well get good at it. So I really got into cooking, and obviously it was all meat, dairy, fish, everything. And I've previously worked on the dock, and my first job, in fact, was called heading cod.
Whereabouts are you based, by the way?
Fleetwood, Lancashire.
Fleetwood, so it's a big fishing town, Fleetwood. For the people who don't know, Fleetwood is like a big fishing town. That's what it's known for. In fact, we've got a saying that you smell like Fleetwood docks if you smell a bit fishy. Yeah.
They call us codheads. And in fact, when me and my mates used to go out on a Saturday night, we could only go to the local nightclub in Fleetwood because the girls didn't mind the smell of fish. And because even if you had a shower twice, you still couldn't get rid of it. But so I worked on the dock, and my first job was heading cod, which is literally you've got a 10-stone. It's called a kit, a barrel of cod, and you have a filleting bin, and you've got an empty kit there, and you literally just pick them up, thumb under the gills, rip off the head. That goes into the bin. The rest goes into filleting. And you're just doing that all day, and I'd do thousands in a day. And you don't really think. I was a teenage lad. You don't think about it. And I did find out later, and I've helped a lot of vegans who've got into arguments with people about fish not feeling pain, which they do. One of the things I noticed when I was doing this was a lot of the cod and the haddock as well. You'd be pulling the head off, and you'd notice a tiny fish in the mouth. And I just thought, oh, we must have caught them while they were eating. And then I noticed, so cod and haddock have different markings. And I've noticed that that's funny, he's got a brown stripe down its side. Cod don't eat cod, haddock don't eat haddock. And I did some research into it, and it turns out that the fish is the mother. And when they sense danger, it's a survival instinct.
Oh,
Pick up the baby. Their heads are always facing out because they pick them up in the mouth and then they have to swim away as fast as they can. So if they face the wrong way, the gills won't work and they'll drown anyway. So they put them in the mouth and they try and swim away from danger. So they are sentient to, you know, they're self-aware, they're aware of their own mortality, and they want to avoid harm and protect the children, the same as every other.
Of course they do.
And of course they don't swim away. They get caught in our net. They get pulled up into our atmosphere, where effectively they drown or they get crushed by their companions in the net. But so that was something I learned and I've used in activism since, because I have the experience having worked.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's. I mean, even I went pescatarian for the protein myth and thought, yeah, it's fine, fish ain't. And I even talked to people and said, no, it's fine, fish, you're okay. You don't need to worry about fish. They don't feel pain.
They, you know, they don't have a cute face. They're quite a lot different from us, so we don't empathise with them in the same way. But that doesn't mean that they don't have the same right to live, and that they're not sentient. We know they are. So that's going off topic, really. So I was a.
Oh no! This is what I want to hear. I want to hear. This is the knowledge that us commoners don't often get. So no, anything like that, mate. Let me know, because it's. Look, people are just commenting saying, "Wow, so interesting. That's fascinating."
I can't see anything. My wife's gone away. I have to put them on to read the comments, but
you know, so yeah,
it's something that I get into a lot of battles online because I see it. I don't know about you, Danny, but I think it's our duty to be activists and not just to be quiet vegans, because it's an injustice. For me, it's the biggest fight of our generation, and it's, you know, 70 billion animals ish are killed every year, as we know. You know, I know I'm preaching to converted here, but I talk to so many people who say, I don't shove it down people's throats. Well, that's like seeing an injustice like slavery or any big injustice in the past, and being quiet and saying, well, as long as I'm not participating in it, that's okay. But non-participation isn't the same as standing up against an injustice. You kind of just ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a whole video. On this. Is that you really should be doing something, and people think, oh, I can't go out on the streets and talk to people. I can't do that. You don't have to. You can buy a T-shirt, right? I go running at the moment, and I've got a T-shirt said, and it's from Defender of Animals Clothing, and it says, "My food doesn't beg for mercy," or "My food doesn't scream for mercy." And you want to see the looks that gets off people, and they look at it, read it, and put their heads down.
Yeah, because
there's your activism.
Yeah,
there's your activism. Because first of all, they think that you can see the wondering now. What? My food doesn't scream, beg for mercy. My food doesn't scream. Oh, and then you can see it dawn on them, and then they look away. You know, so that's activism. That's definitely activism, mate.
One of the first things I did was, you know, Viva, the charity. So they had this ice cream truck going around the country a few years ago now, probably 5 years ago, and it was a vegan ice cream truck, and it was their Dairy is Scary campaign, and they brought it to Blackpool. So they went on Facebook and said, any local vegans want to come and help us out? So me and a few others went down. I made some good friends on that day, and people I'm still in contact with now, like you know Ruth, don't you? Vegan school teacher, and she's a great active. She's a small girl, and she's a primary teacher, and she's got balls of steel. She will just she's on TikTok all the time. Yeah. She gets all sorts of hatred and trolling, and she just carries on because she knows why she's doing it, which is what keeps us all. We don't always enjoy it. We don't always enjoy these debates. I don't always want to have an argument with someone, but if you know why you're doing it, you know there are victims kind of standing behind you, wanting you to fight the fight for them. So that's why I do this. And the Viva thing, I thought, oh yeah, I'll go down, see what's going on. And we saw the big pink ice cream truck on Blackpool Promenade. And I went down and said, okay, how can I help? And they gave me this huge, everybody else was getting a black t-shirt with Dairy is Scary on it. And they were saying, oh, just bring people to the ice cream truck and we're giving them free vegan ice cream. Then we can talk to them. They gave me this huge pink placard, like an 8-foot placard with Dairy is Scary vegan ice cream on it. So I thought, okay, I've been a salesman for 30 odd years, really. I mean, I ran businesses later on, but ultimately you're still a salesman.
We'll talk about that in a minute, actually. So yeah.
I thought, well, okay, this is what I do. So I can do this. I can go and talk to people. I'm not scared of it. So my wife and Thor, my dog, came that day, and we walked down the prom, and I just said, right, this is the deal. We don't let anybody walk past us. It was a really busy day, and because people stand there and they pick people, like if they're handing out leaflets, and 10 people go past you, and you'll give it to one of them. And I thought, no, nobody gets past us. So, and I had this placard. It was a bit embarrassing. So I worked out a shtick, which was kind of, I just walked up to everyone and said, look, mate, I know you don't want to talk to the guy with the placard. I don't want to be the guy. You think I want to be the guy with the placard? I don't want to be the guy with the placard. But all we're doing is we're giving away free ice cream. And that truck is just down there. Go down there with your kids and you get free ice cream. The difference is it's vegan. Now, the difference between vegan ice cream and normal ice cream is obviously, you may or may not know, but male dairy calves are slaughtered pretty much at birth because we want their milk. And they have to be forcibly impregnated every year for about 5 years. And each time they give birth, it's a male that's slaughtered. If it's a female, she'll go through the same process as the mum. And then when they're knackered, they'll be killed. I don't want to, I don't want to get in your face too much about it. I always kind of, one of the things I learned from sales is go to a point and then go, look, I don't want to bother you too much about this. And they go, no, it's okay. And then you can bother them a bit more about it. And then you say, look, I really don't, I'm sorry, mate, I don't want to. Then they go, no, it's fine. Then you can bother them a bit more about it. So I kind of say that and then say, look, the only difference is we don't kill a cow, we kill a coconut. So why don't you go down, give it a go, see what you think. And it was a really good day. I actually ended up in a stand-up row with a dairy farmer and his missus, who I was talking to a family, and I had this tap on my shoulder, and this woman looked like a bulldog chewing a wasp, and she said, "We don't effing kill, we don't effing shoot dairy calves," because on the back of my T-shirt it said 70,000 male dairy calves are shot at birth. We don't shoot dairy calves, and so that's good to know. Random facts, but thanks very much. And she said, "Well, I'm a dairy farmer." I'm like, okay, bit of context. Now I know why you're saying that. Which she didn't like. Obviously, I knew what she. I said, so just out of interest, how do you kill your dairy calves? And then her husband started, and he was like, "You're trying to ruin our business." Well, we agree on something then. Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. But if you grow crops, I'll have a placard bigger than this one, and I'll walk down Blackpool Prom with that placard saying, "Buy Dave's crops," because that's a good thing to do, and this isn't a good thing to do because people are dying. Cows are dying. So anyway, it was a good day, and it's actually the day my wife went vegan because she was vegetarian at that point. And once she'd heard me argue the argument so many times, she went vegan that day.
Brilliant. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to buy my mate Dave's crops because you'll get arrested. So make sure you get Carl's friend Dave's crops, not Danny's friend Dave's crops, because these are all in an attic. So that.
I didn't really tell you the story why I went vegan, did I?
Yeah, you still. I was going to nudge you in that direction right now, but yeah, go ahead.
So I'm the cook, and my 3 kids all went to uni, and whenever they came home, they'd phone me up and say, "Dad, I'm coming home for the weekend or a week," and I'd say I'd cook them whatever their favourite was. So my daughter, who turned me vegan, hers was barbecue ribs, and my son was steak pie or sometimes corned beef hash, and my youngest daughter was this Italian chicken and white wine thing. So Stephanie, my eldest, phoned me up and said she was a teacher at this point in London. She teaches ethics and philosophy, and she phoned me up and said, "Dad, it's half term. I'm coming home for the week." So I said, "Great, I'll go and get the meat from Grand's Butchers, which is where the Gran wanted to get the meat from." And she said, "No, I'm a vegetarian now." So I kind of took the piss originally because it's a dad thing, I suppose. So I said something along the lines of, "Oh, you and your London ways, I knew it'd change you." And anyway, I went out and bought a load of halloumi, and we did a week of vegetarian cooking. And we'd always have chats over the kitchen table. We do get quite philosophical anyway. And I said, "So what's the deal there?" And she said, "Well, I'm doing this module for the kids, and it's about how we treat dogs and cats, and we love our dogs, and we know if they're happy or if they're sad or if they're ill, and we'll do anything to make them better. And at the same time, pigs are more intelligent than dogs." She told me about the research. I now have video footage of pigs doing jigsaws and all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's really cool that, yeah.
So, and we slaughter these pigs in horrific ways. And she showed me some footage. And I was horrified because as a 51-year-old bloke, you think you kind of know how things work, and nothing should surprise you at that point. And I saw that, and it was just, you stick it to the back of your mind. Somebody tells you humane slaughter, you go along with it because it's easy and it's what everybody does. And I just thought, I don't want any part of that. That's not something I want to support. So I kind of went vegetarian. Although I did have a discussion. I said to her, "Well, the thing is, I can't change anything. I'm one man. So if I don't buy it, some other guy's going to buy it. It's not going to make any difference." Obviously, we've heard all these arguments a million times off of the people now, but it kind of makes me empathize with people when I'm talking to them, because I've given the same arguments. So I can say, "Look, mate, I was where you are now, but I saw a film." In my case, it was 12 Years a Slave. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I've watched that. Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
Great. And the guy lives in New York, and he's a concert violinist or something. And they used to come from the deep south, and they'd buy him a drink, and they'd spike it, chuck him in a truck, and they wake up in chains. And he'd say, "Look, I'm a free man. I'm a concert violinist," and they just beat them until they give up, and then they're a slave, and they can do whatever they want to them. And I was watching that film with my wife, and I thought, that's when I was saying I can't make a difference. If the people who stood up against slavery said I can't make a difference, we'd still have slavery. So, and now everyone agrees that it's an abhorrent part of our history and it should never have happened. And that for me kind of pushed a button in my head. And I thought, these people who stood up originally against slavery, they were against a huge industry. All the big houses in London and where I live in Lancashire, they're mostly built off cotton or sugar or mahogany, which were all part of the slave triangle. And powerful people stood up in Parliament and argued that African people were animals and they weren't the same as us. And you could work them all day and they'd be fine with one meal, and they were expendable, and ultimately they weren't sentient. And we hear all these arguments now in the same way.
Do you know though, Carl, did you realize that while this slavery was going on, that thousands and thousands of cotton mill workers in the north and Manchester came out in favor of abolishing slavery? They actually came out and protested against slavery, even though they were practically slaves themselves, working for a pittance. I find that astounding. Astounding.
Because those people had no power at all, and they were literally, like you say, they were the slaves at the other end of
we were just very low paid. Yeah.
I mean, kids would be sent into looms and get body parts chopped off, and they were expendable.
Yeah.
But powerful people, it was a huge, powerful industry, arguably bigger than the meat and dairy industry is now, and in that time. And it only took about 40 years from the start of campaigning against slavery to the abolition of slavery. And they didn't have social media. They weren't educated like we are. They didn't have we couldn't do this and have lots of people listening to our conversation. And so if they could do that then, why can't we do this now? And that's what changed me.
Floki Helga says, you sound like a great voice for the animals, Karl. Thank you. You should get a YouTube channel and tell us more your thoughts on activism. So yeah, you're stealing my fans, mate. You're stealing my fans.
Well, my kids bought me this light so that I would do it, because they're always saying, "Dad, get on YouTube." So I guess I'll have to do some of that. But,
it looks like Dan Brown's getting very philosophical. I don't know whether he's had some of my mate Dave's special crops, but he says, do you think emotional intelligence is correlated with empathy towards animals and therefore veganism?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so. I think you've got to be
emotionally intelligent. In fact, I had an argument with a guy who was a manager in the NHS in Dundee. I used to work up in Scotland. I knew this guy. I'd had meetings with him. And I can't remember what, obviously it was a vegan thing I was talking about. And he came on with, "Oh, not for me, mate. Northern lads love gravy." Well, obviously I'm Northern, you might notice. But I had a conversation with him, and I ended up saying, look, I can't, obviously you're not listening, or you're not accepting what I'm saying, because you're saying you care. And he did say that he cared. I always get people to say that they care. But at the same time, what you're doing demonstrates that you don't care. So it doesn't matter if you don't do it at this point, because there are people watching this conversation who will have the emotional intelligence to join the dots. And he got quite annoyed by this and said, "Well, I've got the emotional intelligence. You should know that. You've had meetings with me." I said, no. Intelligence, academic intelligence, is not emotional intelligence. It's recognizing that something is wrong, that's part of your own value system, as you've just said to me, that you care, and then not following that up with your actions and not joining those dots. You're not joining those dots because it's inconvenient for you, or because you like the taste of the product, or you've always done it and you can't think outside the box.
I think that's why so many MPs and toffs, right? They're not emotionally intelligent, because they've been brought up in boys' schools, girls' schools. They taught not to show emotion. They taught not to show empathy. Man up. Don't show any pain. Don't show any weaknesses. So all these toffs who are in power and run these big businesses, and they're not emotionally intelligent at all. They haven't got any. And this is the problem we've got.
I think the thing is, they were brought up to, well, if we're talking about right wing, then most of them were probably brought up hunting and shooting and all those kind of things, and they were normal, and that kind of breeds into you in the same way as it does if you're a farmer. I talk to loads of farmers. I actually go on farmers pages and the National Farmers Union Facebook page. They don't like me, they've blocked me now, but you talk to those guys, and I've had a couple of conversions though. I've got 2 sheep farmers and a pig farmer to my name so far.
Wow.
who've ultimately agreed with me. I should have a Spitfire with, like they had those little bombs on the
What would you have as the motif though? What you could have as a motif, a pig or I don't know.
Or a sheep, something like that. But,
or a farmer with a pitchfork.
Yeah, but so ultimately those guys, you very rarely talk to a farmer who's a first generation farmer. They're usually 4th, 5th, 10th generation. They've been brought up to believe that that's the norm, and their circle of influence, the mum, the dad, the granddad, are all probably lovely people, and they're the people that they're going to emulate, because you're a product of your environment.
I mean, that's the thing though, Karl. Farming, animal farming especially, who in the right mind, right, whether you're empathetic or not, who in the right mind is going to go, I know I'm going to get a job where I've got to get up at 4 a.m, work till 9 o'clock in the evening. I've got to do that 7 days a week, 365 days a year in all weathers. Yeah, that's a great job. I'm going to go right for that.
And I won't even make a profit, so I have to be subsidised by the taxpayer, which is me and you.
Exactly.
Funnily enough, there was a guy way before I went vegan, and I've worked all over the country, and I was staying at this golf resort in Cambridgeshire, and it was just the only place we could get digs for the night. And they had these little lodges on a golf course, and there was a clubhouse and a spa and a bar and all that kind of stuff. So me and my colleague got booked in there. We ended up staying there for about 6 weeks while we were doing this selling job, and I got to meet the owner, and we became quite friendly. We were the same age, and we had quite a few similar interests. And his story was really interesting because he was the son of a dairy farmer, and that golf course used to be a dairy farm. And his granddad before him and his great granddad before him all had this as about 18-acre dairy farm. And he said one day these guys came to me, business leisure kind of guys, and said, look, we've got this idea of turning your land into a leisure resort. So we're going to build an 18-hole golf course, clubhouse, blah. We've got investors, and obviously they'll want to share the profits, but they'll put up a lot of the capital. And what do you think? And he said, well, actually, exactly that. I don't like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't like being covered in shit all day. It's just what I've always done. And he said, it's great. I as you've seen, I'm mostly in the clubhouse at night. That's my big house over there on the land, and I don't get up until 10 o'clock in the morning. And I've got a team here who do all the stuff for us, and they do the marketing, and I make more money than I did before, and I don't need subsidies. So at the time, I wasn't vegan, didn't think any more about it. But one of the things I'm trying to do with my project, Phyton, is to provide funding to give companies expert guidance and business advice from organic farming experts and leisure business experts. If they're at the point, or if we can get them to the point where they're willing to look at transitioning away from cruelty and towards something more sustainable and more ethical, then we'll provide the funding for that, and those companies will invest, and they can open up a leisure business together, or they can have an organic farm together, and the thing will make profit, and they won't have to get up in the morning.
Right. Okay. You're preceding me a little bit here because So we've got the reason you went vegan. You went sort of you went sort of vegetarian first. Was it for the ethics you went vegetarian? It was the ethical standpoint.
It is, I'm not the cleverest or the most stupid person in the world, but I would have expected myself to figure out the dairy thing once I'd figured out the meat thing, and I didn't. I thought
it's surprising.
Milky, buxom girl, 3-legged stool. That's the way it goes.
Stop doing that. It's not good for the stream, mate. Stop it, please. I know what you mean. If someone's just tuned in now, sorry, he's talking about milking cows. He's not calling me names. Same to you, mate.
Moving on. So I didn't make the connection with dairy, and then I saw something online, which was what happens to dairy calves, and I think that was actually through Viva, and that was why I did the dairy is scary thing, because I realised, and it just blew my mind, and I was, wow, okay, so nothing comes out of dairy alive. The mothers last about 4 or 5 years of a 20-year lifespan. The boys are killed straight away or within 12 weeks for veal, and the girls will go through the same traumatic experience and be killed before that. So it was just as, in fact, it was more abhorrent to me, which is why, and I think everyone gets to this point where they either go vegetarian then vegan, or they go vegan straight away. And if it's for the animals, if it's for the ethics of it, then they get to a point where they start thinking, how can I do more? I want to change this. I need to do something. And I talk to a lot of people and they all say the same. And I've got a friend who locally has a brilliant business called Seitan Hustle. And he's a Chinese guy, and it's kind of a fusion of, it's fast food takeaway, although it's delivery. It's a fusion of Asian and kind of KFC sort of thing, but it's way, way better than anything you've ever had as a takeaway, even either before or after meat. And he's an ethical vegan. I know various other people who've started ethical vegan businesses. And for me, I would think and I'd talk to my family about, I want to do something, I want to change something. And activism is okay, but it's not enough, because I go to bed every night and I know, without sounding melodramatic, there are animals just like my dog asleep somewhere tonight that are going to go through this horror in the morning, and they don't know it yet. And I need to do something about that. I need to change that. So there was kind of a sense of urgency, and I'm not doing it quickly enough now. It should be up and running now.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things in the way, mate, like COVID-19. Oh, I've said it. Damn, that's me. The YouTube algorithm is screwed now. Yeah, there's lots of things getting in the way, which leads me on, Karl, is that you're an entrepreneur, you're a businessman, and you've had a bit of a rocky road over the last few years. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about your past?
Yeah, so I've been in business all my life, and since I was about 19, I started my first business, and I was a fashion designer in the 80s. Would you believe?
No, wow.
But yeah, so that was just a bit of fun, really, but made a little bit of money out of it. Then I had to get serious because I was getting married, and so I've mainly been in advertising and publishing. So I've had various companies that have produced magazines or papers, and we would sell advertising on them. And then in later life, for the past kind of 20 years, I ran a company that ran the employee benefit schemes for the biggest public sector employers in Scotland. So I just liked Scotland when I was working all over the country. Went up to Edinburgh a few times, loved it there. Everyone's dead friendly, so I thought, if I'm going to do it, I'll do it there. And there's lots of business to be had there. So I did this thing where we had 312,000 members, and they all had a discount card, and they could use this card in bars, restaurants, hotels, health clubs, get discounts on holidays, all that kind of thing. And we promoted those through a website. There was a magazine that all the members got every 6 months, and it was relatively successful for a good number of years. And then COVID happened, and the whole thing fell off a cliff, because my income came from restaurants, bars, hotels, health clubs, holiday companies, all of which
shut down.
So we had a debt book, which is our revenue that we can invoice over the next 6 months to a year. And that fell off a cliff because these companies had booked a 6-month promotion with us. They were regular advertisers. Lots of them are friends. They've been with us for 20 odd years. And we had lots of repeat business because we did a good job for our advertisers, and they saw people coming in using the cards. So it was quantifiable to them to continue doing it. And lots of them just disappeared, just shut up shop, because businesses, particularly on the face of it, successful businesses, they're always expanding. And I have friends who had chains of restaurants, and all the restaurants were really well furnished and well furnished. The food was good. They do a refurb every 2 years. They spend multi-million pounds doing the refurbs. These businesses are big machines, and they only survive as long as the machine keeps running. As soon as the cash flow stops,
yeah,
no time. they can't live for very long without that cash flow. And under any other circumstances, that cash flow would always be there, and you'd find a marketing solution, you'd find a sales solution, you'd cut costs. But with this, there was nothing. You had to shut, and they had these huge overheads. I have some friends who had just a successful business again, and they just borrowed to refurb and expand. So they'd put themselves in a tricky position, but it wouldn't normally be in a tricky position because they turned over millions a year. But all of a sudden, they're turning over zero a year, but they still have this massive loan.
Bills, yeah.
So,
and the thing is well, the thing is, mate, is like when this happened last year, last January, February, March, I think the first one was. We went into it, we come out of it. They did another one, a less severe one, and then they said the vaccine was out, and then we all thought, oh right, okay, and the government offered more money. So these businesses have sort of like they managed to open for a little bit. Oh, we can get away with this. We can do takeaways. All right, we're getting this government grant. And now it's done it again. This is the final nail in the coffin for a lot now, unless they borrow more money. So when they do get back to normal, they're going back into business with a massive debt hanging over their head, and that can't be good for anybody, really, can it?
A lot of them will go to the wall as soon as they open up again, because it's unsustainable what businesses have been asked to do. And I understand why, and I don't want to get into the whole COVID argument, but we should have gone hard and fast lockdown, early doors.
Yeah, we know that.
We'd have been like Australia and New Zealand. It had been done, and we could have carried on. To have a lockdown and then go eat out to help out, let's all go mingle again, was ludicrous. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about, and I don't want to waste time on it, because I always say, when you get into these like online, even on the vegan groups, sometimes you get into this infighting thing and people having opinions about kind of the nuanced bits of veganism. And I'm kind of, look, when they've stopped killing the animals, guys, let's do this, eh? Like, we can knock ourselves out about whether we should have pets and whether we should feed our dogs vegan and whatever it might be. We can knock ourselves out about that when they've shut the last slaughterhouse. Until then, I've only got so much energy, and I want to use my time talking to the people that we haven't converted yet, because I think a lot of age. So COVID, I'm a bit like that with that. We'll get through it. But what I want to talk about is this. So my thing was, I was looking to start this new thing, which, as I said, I've been thinking about how I could make a difference. And my background, my personal background, is I've always been into sport, mainly kind of martial arts, fighting sports.
Can I just interrupt? Who's Luke Logan?
That's my son.
Right, Luke Logan is putting on the screen there, Fight on Fit, for those who are interested in following the project. So we're going to hi Luke, by the way. We're going to explain now. Carl's going to explain about Fight on Fit and what he's trying to bring into market. So if anybody out there, any of you guys now, are looking into doing an investment, or have anybody in business who's got a bit of wants to put some money into something, have a listen to Karl now and just take on board what he's talking about, because I think it's a really cool project, and it's especially the fitness fanatics out there and the gym goers and the runners. This will be really sort of apt for you guys. So so tell us all about it, Karl. This idea you've got.
Thank you, Danny. Well, my son will be doing that because he said, Dad, don't go off on a tangent and talk about animal rights for 3 hours and forget to talk about Fight On.
We can bring him on. I can put an invite out there. Copies.
He's fine. I'm sure he'll be working on it. He's a film director. He works full on all the time.
I know. Oh, by the way, Luke, don't forget, when you need the rough guy for one of your adverts, right? Don't forget, I'm an actor, mate. So please.
His wife's a casting agent as well, so I have told her about you, Danny.
Yeah. I need some work. I need to stop driving wagons for a living because I keep drifting off at the wheel. So it will save a lot of lives if you just get me some nice meaty roles.
So I was thinking about what I could do, how I could make the biggest difference. And I could open up a cafe or a bar, a restaurant, something like that, and I'll make a small local difference. But it wasn't enough. I wanted to change things. So with my background in kind of sport, fitness, all that kind of thing, always gone to gyms, not a bodybuilder, just kind of a fitness guy. But I've always used protein. I've always used protein shakes, and I've done quite a lot of research into protein over the years. And I used to take whey protein all the time, obviously, because that's the market leader, and it's a multi-billion-pound business, the whey protein business. And I always think it's odd that vegans. Sorry, the one thing that's leveled at vegans is the protein deficiency thing, when by definition whey protein can't be bought by vegans, but it's the biggest seller. It's a multi-billion-pound industry, and then it's bought by meat eaters. But anyway, so I thought, well, this is a multi-billion-pound business. I know something about this. I have some contacts because I work with a lot of universities. So I talked to some people who are experts in nutrition at some of the universities that I work with. I then talked to some sports scientist guys, and we came up with a formulation for a vegan protein powder, which is superior nutritionally to any whey protein powder. It's based on, it's not a big secret. It's based on fermented yellow split pea and cold pressed hemp and pumpkin seeds are the three main protein sources. So it's a multi-source protein. So it's a complete protein, has 6 grams of branched chain amino acids, which is comparable to anything at the top end that's out there. It has 26 grams of protein per serving. Your average whey protein has between 20 and 25. So we're beating them in the arms race for grams of protein per serving. So the idea is, if anyone wants to buy a protein shake, they can buy one that doesn't harm anyone, isn't part of the dairy industry, takes business away from the dairy industry, hopefully. And as well as being a superior product nutritionally, the company is a non-profit, which I always think is a bit of an oxymoron, because we are looking to make as much profit as possible, but the profits will go to 3 areas. So one area that I've looked at quite a bit is sanctuaries, farm animal sanctuaries, because as veganism grows, and it's grown, the figures vary between 600% and 700% over the last 5 years. So it's growing exponentially every year. There is more and more demand for places in sanctuaries. As farmers agree with us, as farmers see the market changing and can't change with it, or do change with it, they want to give up their herds, they want to give up their flocks. We need to have somewhere for those animals to go, because if they end up going to slaughter, then we've kind of defeated ourselves. So as you'll know, Danny, with your recent 24-hour YouTube thing, sanctuaries are under huge pressure financially, particularly again with what's been happening. People can't afford to send them money. And I had direct debits to so many sanctuaries. My wife was going to leave me if I sent any more money to any more sanctuaries. And I thought, I need to be able to do this, but I need to generate revenue to do this. So why don't I have a business, and all the profits from that business can go to those sanctuaries? So it allows them to expand, it allows them to take on more animals. Until, of course, we get to a paradigm change, which I think is a way down the line, where collectively people see what we see and say, we need to stop doing this. And then, of course, they'll stop force breeding, and we'll gradually reduce the numbers of animals that are around. But that's a long way off. And right now, we need to support these sanctuaries. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart at the end, and we'll be a victim of our own success. The other thing is, there are 3 areas that I want to focus on. We want to generate revenue to help to help farmers transition, which is what I touched on before, away from harmful industries, and find a revenue stream that's more ethical and doesn't involve the slaughter of innocent animals. So I've already talked to PETA about this. One of the great things that came out of the competition is I kind of have a line of communication there, and they've shared part of my story about this already, and they've said they'll support me some more. And they already have something in place. They ran a competition where dairy farms could enter, and they'd get a consultation with Deborah Meaden from Dragon's Den.
Yep.
And she would help them find different revenue sources based on the resources that they had. So it might be leisure, or it might be growing organic crops. And then they'd bring an organic crop company in to show them how to do that, and there'd be funding for them. So I have said to PETA, look, if you've already got the infrastructure, there's no point in doubling up on that, because that's just doubling up on a cost. So, oh, that's me. So why don't I just fund you to fund your to help with that project? I've also talked to Refarmed, who are a company that are doing great work as well. You know, the guy who Joey Carbstrong did a film about. He was a beef farmer, and he gave up his cows.
Yes,
and
yes, I've actually spoken to him. Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
He grows oats, and now he sells organic oat milk. And
That's right.
That was through a partnership with Refarmed. So I've talked to Refarmed, and I've said to them, look, again, you've already got the infrastructure. We'll just provide some of the funding for it. So that's the second part of the plan.
So let me just recap before you go into the third part. So basically, you've got this product.
Mhm.
It's been formulated. Fight on, folks. Listen, by the way, I'm sorry about the slow chat. I didn't realise that I'd done that, and I can't turn it off. So if you're frustrated with not being able to put too many comments in, I'm really sorry. It's my bad. I'm so sorry, folks. So yeah, so you've got it. It's basically ready for market.
It's ready for market. We've done all the R&D. The product's ready to go. The incentives are ready. So yeah, everything's ready to go.
Right. Okay.
The thing was, of course, my revenue ran out because it was going to come from my business. My business fell off a cliff. So we're now going the crowdfunder route. So we were all ready to go, and we were pressing the button on a Kickstarter campaign. And as I mentioned to you off camera before, Kickstarter rejected our application because they said we were an energy drink, which an energy drink is stimulants, carbs, and sugars. We don't have any stimulants, no carbs, no sugars. So we're anything but an energy drink. We're an organic protein shake, which is
so. When you told them this, what was their reply then? You told, obviously you can prove to them that it's not like an energy drink. Then
it was an automated reply that just said, "Thanks for your interest. See you later," kind of thing. So we sent them a detailed response, because we also found out that they'd previously run Kickstarter campaigns for 4 other protein brands, none of which were vegan. So we don't know if there's something in that or not. But we've talked to Crowdfunder now, who fit our ethical stance much better anyway. And a lot of the people at Crowdfunder are vegans, it turns out.
Right. Okay.
The girl I was talking to there turned out to be a vegan. So I'd much rather use those guys. So what we're having to do now, because my son Luke, who's the director, I've been really fortunate in that through connections through my business over the last 30 years and through my son's filmmaking and the agency that represents him in London, which is run by Rankin, the photographer. So we have a lot of really good contacts, and a lot of these guys have been working for free, and they're people who, you know, the film crew turned up on the shoot, and the lighting, the camera guy, his camera was worth more than my house. I couldn't afford to hire these guys to do this great job that they've done of our film, but because they're behind us, they're behind the idea and what we're trying to do. People have been giving their time for free, which has been fantastic. So we've got a great product ready to launch. We've got a great video to launch it with, and we've got a great story, and it's all for good.
So it's a brilliant story. It's ethically sourced. It's totally vegan. I love the way you keep flashing that. You've been trained so well. Well, Luke, you've done a really good job directing your dad here. I tell you, you've done a really good job. You should have cleaned your fingernails. You should have cleaned your fingernails before you started doing that, though, mate. Joking. So if people, so if there's some guys out there, maybe there's some business.
I don't want to forget number 3 before I.
Do number three.
Well, number 3 is one thing I've noticed as an activist and talking to lots of other activists is we convert people all the time. And Veganuary has been great this year. I've had so many messages from people and people joining my cooking page and commenting, I've just gone vegan on the various vegan pages that I'm on. So it's growing and growing and growing, which is great. But one spanner in the works is the system, because the subsidies are still allowing dairy farmers to produce the same amount of milk and therefore exploit the same number of animals, however successful we are, and they can pour it down a drain or into a river, and they get paid for that by me and you. And we can't do anything about that. Well, arguably, we can do something about that. So I want to fund, the third thing is to fund professional political lobbyists who can lobby to change the system internally by pushing forward the agenda to reduce subsidies or ultimately to remove subsidies from the dairy industry, from the livestock industry. The government has already made noises about this in terms of they're talking about now that they've changed the system so that because they've taken it over from the EU, they don't want to be spending as much money as they were before. So one thing that they've said now is the grant system won't be based on landmass, because it used to be based on landmass, and there's a sheikh, an Arab sheikh who owns a load of farmland in Scotland and gets 1.25 million from the UK government just because he owns the land in grants. And lots of farmers do that. So that will force some change, because people who will be hit by that will be sheep farmers who have the hill farmers, so they have a lot of land, so they won't be getting the subsidies that they were getting before. So that's helpful for you. And they're also talking about giving subsidies for planting trees, which is also helpful. Incidentally, all our packaging is biodegradable or recyclable. It comes in a cardboard tube, which is a recycled cardboard tube with a bio bag inside it. And we plant 2 trees for every pack that's bought.
And it's non-profit as well, this business, once it gets up and going.
Yeah, so all the profit is going to animal sanctuaries. So that might be a problem for any investors, because obviously they're looking to make a profit, they're looking to get equity or shares. And that's not really what we're doing, because ultimately we just want to make as much money as possible for these sanctuaries. So what we could do essentially is borrow the money and then pay it back with an agreed interest, which would give them a way of making.
What would you say to potential investors out there? Why should they? A vegan investor. If there was some vegan investors out there, that would be ideal for them, because they would be doing something, giving something back, obviously, and then.
Sorry, Danny, I'm talking over you.
It's all right.
I used to do small things like this back in the day with the business, where lots of businesses have, often nowadays, they have a budget for what's called corporate social responsibility. And that is a way for companies to be seen to be giving something back to the community. So they'll support community groups, or they'll sponsor a local football team, or some of them do much bigger things. They'll send a lot of food to food banks. There are all sorts of things, and there are all sorts of budgets for CSR. But if there are directors of companies out there who are looking to channel some corporate social responsibility revenue towards a cause that's vegan and ethical and environmentally sound, because of the planting 2 trees and the packaging and the sourcing. We source our organic turmeric, for instance, from France. We don't ship it in from India. Everything's sourced from as close to home as possible. And so if that ticks any boxes for any companies, then that would be great to get one of those guys on board. But initially, we're thinking crowdfunder, where it's a load of people giving us a £5 or a £10 or 50 quid, and they're all part of it. And we have a range of rewards that they can get as part of that. So if you donate £20, you get a 500-gram pack of the first product off the shelf, off the production line. We'll have T-shirts. We have a hoodie, which is a Founders hoodie, and it will have Founders 21 and all the names, obviously Phyton Founders 21, all the names of the people who've donated will be on the back, a bit like the school leavers hoodies. So there'll only be a limited number of those because we can only get so many names in. So there are all sorts of incentives that people can have, and hopefully that will encourage them to give them some support.
Okay, so if anybody does know any big investors or any vegan business owners that may have a few dollars floating around that they don't know what to do with, going down below here is Karl's email, which is karl@phyton.org.uk, and you can pass that email over. How else can people connect with you, Karl?
Well, Luke's given you the Instagram page, so that's Phyton Fit, and we're going to
find it. Go on, you carry on talking, mate.
Yep, we're going to have a Facebook page very shortly. That was due to go live to coincide with the Kickstarter campaign. Obviously, that is now on hold, but it's all ready to go. So we'll put out details for that as soon as that goes live. We've lined up quite a bit of press and other some influencers to help us promote the brand. That's the branding that you can see there. So you can see the tube.
Do you know something? When I saw that, then I thought I've got on the wrong thing. This is a battery. This is a battery company.
Yeah, because the tubes look quite small there altogether. But they're the cardboard tubes.
Right.
So there are branding colours, and that's how it will look. Make your gains go further is our tagline. So the idea is, when people are working out, they're usually working out to make gains, to put muscle on, to get stronger, get faster, get fitter.
Of course, yeah.
But the idea of this is it doesn't just stop at your gains, because sanctuaries gain, therefore the animals gain, and the environment gains as well. So if somebody's looking to spend, top-end protein, the kind of high-end competitors are around 36, 37 quid for a kilo, and most people will buy one of those a month. We're putting ours out 35 quid a kilo. So if you're looking to spend that kind of money on a protein, and that's what you do anyway, you can either keep spending it on the protein you've got, and it'll just go to the shareholders of the company, or you can spend it on Phyton. You'll get a superior product, or at least let's just say at least an equal product, and you'll be safe in the knowledge that your money's going further.
Yeah,
it's helping the countries.
I mean, I buy off a company called RCR Nutrition. They approach me, and I get a big discount. But they do sell a good vegan range, but they do also sell whey protein, which now ideally I would not want to support them, but I'm supporting them because they have got a big vegan range, and I try and get people to buy the vegan versions of everything. But definitely, when yours comes out, it's totally vegan, everything about it. And I'm helping plant trees, and I'm helping sanctuaries, and
it's not costing you anymore.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't people do that? Because I know things are tough now, and I've been still trying to support all the sanctuaries that I supported before things went wrong, and so I've got these direct debits going out to various sanctuaries. If people are struggling a bit and they still want to stay fit, they still want to use their protein, maybe they want to save a quid or two on a pack, which we can help them with. We're a couple of quid cheaper than the brand leaders, and they maybe can't afford to keep sending 20 quid a month to a farm animal sanctuary as well. Well, this way they can buy our product, and they're still doing that.
Yeah.
But it's not costing them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool idea, mate. Right, listen, people, on the slow chat, what I've done, Carl, I put it on the slow settings. Now, I've just realised the chat. If you get a massive stream where you get a lot of people, and you can put on a slow thing, and people can only comment once every 20 seconds or so. But what I've noticed is it stops everyone arguing and slagging each other off in the chat as well. So tough shit, people. But if anybody's got any questions for myself or Carl or about this business, please start plugging them into the chat now every 20 seconds.
My Facebook, by the way, my personal Facebook is Karl Fogg, at Karl Fogg with a K. So if anyone wants to message me on there, they can message me if they've got questions.
Let's find that for you. So how much are you trying to raise, Carl?
We really need 50,000, which sounds, yeah, I know. And the reason for that is you need to get, so there's an economy of scale with pretty much everything that's produced. And in order to get a cost that makes it viable and makes it profitable, so we make enough money to give to the sanctuaries, we need to produce about 4,000 units. So we're only going to be able to do that. That's going to take about 35,000 of the 50,000. Then we've got the cost of the incentives, the cost of marketing. So we need 50,000. I think we're actually going for 45, or that's what we were going for on Kickstarter. But fortunately, we do have a good team behind us. We've got a good marketing team. We've got a great creative team, and they're all pulling out all the stops to make this happen because they believe in it. So we're hoping that with my contacts in, although I don't have a huge following, I've got a very passionate following in terms of animal rights. So I'm hoping that the guys who voted me to be PETA's most beautiful vegan will also vote for this. And
I mean, have you thought about going on Dragon's Den?
Now there's a thing. I heard that you did that.
Yeah, with my pissy pants. Yeah, I've got funding. I got 2 million for a 2% share in my pissy pants business. Yeah, but I don't want to show you anything because I don't want anybody stealing my idea, mate. So we'll just keep that under wraps for now. So we won't talk about that, right? You know, come on, you're a businessman. You know, we can't talk about things like this. You're the ideal age for those pants, actually. By the way.
I'm all self-contained, me, mate. I'm happy to say. Everything stays where it's so, trouble with Dragon's Den and things like that is you've got investors who are looking to make a profit.
Yes, I see. Maybe it's. I mean, how does that differ? If it's not for what if you'd gone through the for profit and then donated your profits to sanctuaries? Would made things easier, or why go for non-profit?
What it is, the name not for profit is a bit of an oxymoron in that you're looking to make as much profit as you can.
Yeah,
you're just not going to use it for your own gains. You're going to give it to a cause, whatever the cause might be. But I think that's our USP, you know. So we're the first non-profit performance protein brand, vegan or otherwise, in the UK. Now, if we weren't a non-profit, we'd just be another vegan performance protein brand, and people arguably might not want to support that because that's going to buy me a new car and a big house and whatever, send me on holiday. Who cares about? I'll tell you, who doesn't care about that. I don't care about that either. So the difference is that we're looking to make a difference, not to make a load of money. Yeah. So Well, we are looking to make a lot of money, but we're looking to make a difference with that money.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
well, I've spent most of my working life doing things just to make money. And you get to a point where you go, and for me, COVID was kind of a gift in that respect. Yeah, it screwed my business, but there was always something in the back of my mind that I wanted to do something that was more important, that was bigger than that. And I wanted to do something for the animals, because that's what I'm about nowadays. And you can't shut me up, as you can tell. So this gave me an opportunity, because my other business was taken away from me.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'd always had it, I'd probably always still do it, because why wouldn't you? I've got a revenue stream there. I know how it works. I can do it with my eyes closed. So let's just keep doing it. And then Fight On would probably still be an idea. It'd probably still be in my head. And at the moment, it might still be in my head. If we don't get the funding, I'm kind of nowhere. It's still well, this is just my way of using the skills that I've built up over the years, and the knowledge of other people, and the help of people that have been kind enough to get behind me with their skills. And if you read any business book, they'll all tell you, and God knows I've read a million of them. They all say success is down to the people in your team. It's down to you want to be the least qualified person in your boardroom, because you're not there to play an instrument. You're there to play the orchestra. So the orchestra needs to be good at their individual bits.
Yeah.
And I've been really fortunate in that my son's brought on a creative team, which are an award-winning creative team. You've seen the packaging design as part of that. Rob Coker and Zach of Fine Mess Creative, and my son has obviously done the shooting. We've just got all these people that we could never bring on board normally to back us up, and it's given me a purpose. I was always one of these guys who was, when people have a purpose, I'd love to do that, but there's nothing I care about enough. I always just went out and made money and bought fancy cars back in the day.
A passion, mate.
Yeah, exactly, a passion. And then this came along, and this is my thing now. I drive everybody mad about it, because I want to change. I genuinely want to change things.
Yeah.
I try and use what I've learned from sales to channel that into having debates with people. And there are things that you learn in sales, like win the argument, lose the sale, where I'm not there to show the other guy that I'm cleverer than him and piss him off to the point where he doesn't want to talk to me. That doesn't achieve anything.
Right, I've got a question here. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but people are popping questions and comments over now, mate. So someone asked about, you mentioned Deborah Meaden. Is that correct? Dan Brown says he contacted PETA, and Deborah Meaden was in talks with PETA about potentially considering investing in something like his business. Is that correct?
Like my business, I don't know. All I know is when I talked to PETA about my idea, and when I got to the bit where I was saying, and I'd like to help farmers to transition by finding different revenue streams and hopefully funding them to do that, which actually the idea came from the campaigns against the dog meat trade in Southeast Asia, which is one of the things I'm always campaigning against, and Yulin Dog Meat Festival, and everyone knows about that. But when I mentioned it to PETA, they said, "Oh, we're already doing that. We've got this competition running at the moment, and Deborah Meaden has offered to give the winning farm some advice." Now, as it happened, the winning farm pulled out, but so it didn't happen this time. But I don't know whether or not she's been looking to get involved in something like this. It'd be worth finding out, though.
Definitely. Right. Blue Daisy says, is there an estimate of how long from when you receive funding till people have the product in hand? So if you get that 50 grand at the end of February, which I hope you do, 45,000 actually.
Lead time.
How long?
Yeah, lead time is 8 to 12 weeks currently. So that's how long it takes to buy in the ingredients. It's a bit longer because for instance, the yellow split pea is organic. So I don't know what the nuts and bolts of that are, but for some reason it takes about 4 weeks longer than it takes if it isn't. I think it's because the non-organic stuff is in stock anyway. So it's 8 to 12 weeks from the achieving our goal to people getting the product.
Yeah.
But we do, and then obviously we'll have stock in. So the investment will allow us to buy enough stock to give people the stock they've effectively pre-bought through the donations, but we'll then have twice that in stock that people can. So if people want to pre-order and get it monthly, there'll be a discount for people to do that on the website. And one of the incentives is you can get a lifetime 10% discount if you give us, I think it's 50 quid. And you get a kilo bag. There's various wearables as well. We're looking at ultimately expanding it to a range of products. So there'll be a creatine, there'll be an endurance product, and there'll be a few other sports nutrition.
Interesting. Yeah.
We're launching with a range of wearables that people can, for different levels of investment, they can get a T-shirt. So this is probably a good time.
Whoa, sweet child of mine. What's going on here?
I know it's a family show, but it's after 9 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, it's after 9 o'clock, yeah.
Excellent. So, ladies, this is what you've been waiting for.
I should get some music on from the Full Monty, shouldn't I now? But
you can leave your hat on. Yeah. So that's
who is the superhero? It is Python Man.
T-shirt. So when you see our video, you'll see our vegan bodybuilder who did the video for us, and he's got a version of this, which is an extra large. I've got a picture of myself holding it up, and the shoulders are about where my hands are now. You put it on, and it's stretched right across his chest. He's Lee J is called Mr. Motivator. He goes under on.
Vegan programmer. It's actually a not for profit, so it isn't that kind of business. So there won't be a return apart from the product. So I've got that bit right. Can we get shares in Phyton, Carl? Says I'm Easy Vegan. Again,
it's not an equity. It's not an equity campaign because if you have shares, we have to pay dividends, and if you pay dividends, it's not for profit anymore because dividends come from profits, and that means they don't go to the sanctuaries.
So basically, Aaron, all you've got to do is because when you're going to get this page up, mate, because it's not up at the moment, is it? You've not set it up at the moment. When's it going to appear?
I talked to Crowdfunder yesterday, and they've said they'll get it up. It's all a bit woolly. They said they'll get it up as soon as they can, which should be I'm hoping towards the middle of next week.
Right, cool.
So we've had to change a couple of things ourselves because we had a voiceover on the video and it mentions Kickstarter. So we've had to go back to the voiceover artist, who is it's a girl called Laura Winter, who she does the commentary for Sky Sports for the Formula One and the cycling and the rugby.
That's the point. Have you spoken to the vegan rugby team and the vegan Green Forest Rovers and the Green Gazelles?
Yeah, I've talked to Dale Vince, who owns Forest Green Rovers, and the rugby team, the Green Gazelles. I haven't talked to them yet, but
he's a nice guy because I've had him on my stream. I've actually had a chat with him. He's a really nice guy. Really nice guy.
Maybe you could share the contact with me, mate.
Definitely. Let's have a look. There's somebody mentioning you should have wore a cape. Let's have a look. He only needs to wear his underwear on the outside of his pants, Dan. No cape. because Dan Brown is saying.
Involved.
But if you need a good gritty northern voiceover, I'm here, mate. I'll do it for free. You don't need no chick from the F1. You know what I mean? I'm here. I'll voice over.
No, mate, you would have been perfect. Because we were actually, when we were talking about the.
Would you be able to ship to Canada?
Don't know.
Right, Carl. Right, let me teach you in something in business now, my friend. Right, when somebody says, "Will you be able to ship to Canada?" Right, what you do is say yes,
and then you figure it out.
And then you figure it after, right? So no negatives on here. Of course I will.
That was a bit of a schoolboy error there, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're too honest, mate. That's your problem. You should be a bit of a ducker and a diver, wheeler and a dealer like me. You know what I mean? This is what, if I was in charge of this shit, it'd be on the streets in no time. All you got to do is sell it in little bags like that, and you'll make a fortune.
What I'll have to check about that, because we had a question from somebody in the US, and they have different food regulations. So actually, ours are higher than theirs, so it shouldn't be a problem. Because we all know about the chlorinated chicken thing and all that.
Yes.
So in terms of us sending stuff out to the US, it's not really a problem. I would imagine Canada is the same, but I wouldn't like to just say, yeah, we can do it, and then it turns out we can't. But if that person would like to email me, or if you've got a copy of it or something, I'll get back to them.
That was Blue Daisy. So Blue Daisy, if you email Carl or contact him on Facebook or Instagram, message him on there, I'm sure he'll have a chat with you. Well, listen, Carl, we've been at it nearly 1.5 hours now. It doesn't it fly? Doesn't it fly? I told you this.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, we've not finished yet, but I think we're going to start wrapping it up and rolling it down a little bit because there's other streams popping up in at 8 o'clock, I think. UK Vegan Family is streaming. We try and not coincide with each other. Yep. But, it's been a lovely chat, mate, and I really want you to succeed in this. I really do. Is there anything you want to say to the people out there now, your last words on maybe the vegan movement, on your business, on the future? Is there anything you want to say to people out there?
I think, well, in terms of veganism, I think we all need to be active is my thing, whether it's doing what I do or doing what you do, whether it's at the moment we can't stand in the streets and do cubes of truth and all that stuff. And I know that's not for everyone. And I know a lot of people get nervous about doing things like that. I do too. I'm a 30-odd year experienced salesman. And I read a book years ago called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, because that's how you progress. And if you stay in your comfort zone, you don't achieve anything.
Definitely.
So, which is, here I am, 57 years, I should be retired. I'm starting something new that I'm not even doing for my own profit, but it's something I care about, something I'm passionate about. So I think, it might just be that your thing is you're a really good cook or you're a really good baker, and let people know about it, let people know it's vegan. Don't shy away from the conversations. I get lots of people saying, oh, I don't like to bring it up in conversation because everyone says, oh, you can tell they're a vegan because they always bring it up. The people who started that, and the people who started the stereotype noisy vegan, angry vegan, all that kind of stuff, they're the people who don't want us to talk. And they do these things specifically to make us shy away from speaking out. But don't let them win. So do your speaking out, and you don't have to be angry, you don't have to be noisy. I'm a pretty friendly, easygoing sort of bloke. I don't really shout at people. I don't get into personal arguments because I don't achieve anything. But just tell your story. I always start by telling my story, and then I said, look, I was the same as you. What changed me was this. And then they understand that. And I'm not saying you're bad because you're still supporting it. I'm saying I supported it, and this is what I do now. And that's kind of my story. One thing I always leave people with is, well, there are a couple of things. At the end of a conversation or a debate, if they agree with me or they don't agree with me, I'll always say, look, people support animal abuse, which, I think we can agree, nothing that happens in a slaughterhouse can be described as anything other than animal abuse. So let's agree on that.
Yep.
People who support that financially either do it because they don't know about it or they don't care about it. Now, it's my job to make sure you know about it. It's up to you whether or not you care about it. And then kind of leave it with them. So they've usually said 17 times they care and given you various reasons why it's okay. But I've now let you know, I've given you the information. It's up to you now whether or not you care.
This is what I've always said is, if you're going to have a conversation with somebody, as long as you put to them that it's animal abuse, that dairy is animal abuse, that eggs are animal abuse, obviously meat's animal abuse, as long as you've put those points to those people, your work is done. There's nothing more you can do, really. That's it. You can leave them walking away with that ticking over in the mind, because there's one thing I've always said, you can't shut your ears off. And as soon as it goes in through the ears, it's in that brain and it's lodged there and it's not going away.
Yeah. Another thing I've noticed is, if I always keep it calm, I always keep it factual, I never get into kind of personal abuse. And what I have noticed, and I've got people who are friends now and are vegans and have become activists, who I never saw on the thread when I was having a debate with someone, and they'd message me afterwards or friend request me afterwards and say, hey, Karl, I just wanted to say, I thought what you said to that guy was great, and I didn't know that, and I've never heard that before, and I'd like to know more. Or, what do you eat, or how do you get protein? And don't be annoyed with people when they say, how do you get protein? Because they're not always saying it to be an arsehole. Sometimes they're saying it because they don't know.
Exactly.
And
well, I didn't know. I didn't know.
One of us did. And in sales, one thing that they always say is an objection is just a request for reassurance. So if somebody says, no, I don't agree with this, because they're actually asking you why you should, why they should, what is it that they don't understand.
I've always said that the people who are not going to go vegan or not going to listen to you are the ones who say nothing and walk away. The ones who are the most vocal, them are the ones you should concentrate on. It doesn't matter whether they're calling you an old bastard, whether they're calling you a wrinkly-faced git, whether they're calling you an arsehole. It doesn't matter. They're engaging you. It's the ones that walk silently away and carry on with their ways without ever engaging you. Them are the ones.
One of the sheep farmers I got, guy in America, he came on to me and one of my friends, Leslie Tarleton. I don't know if she's on there or not, but he came on to us, and he was effing and blinding all over the place and calling us everything that everyone always calls us. And so I engaged with him, and we ended up having a long debate. And at the end, I've used this with a couple of farmers actually. I said to him, look, mate, it seems to me that you agree, but you're not going to change, because you say you care. You've told me about how you bottle feed lambs and all that kind of stuff, but ultimately we both know where they all end up. Can you do me a favor when you go on your farm tomorrow morning? Just look your sheep in the eye and just apologize to them. Just say, not for you. I'm not trying to be an arsehole. Just human being to human being. All right. I'm not going to win. Okay. You're not going to convert. I get it. Okay. But can you just apologize for me? Because if you can just tell them, I gave it my best shot, but you don't care. And the guy messaged me afterwards and said, I get it. And he stopped. He didn't run the place, but he stopped working there and started doing something else.
Do you know something, Karl? When I was on Veganville, we did this dog barbecue where we put this toy dog on a spit and covered it in blood. And it doesn't show it on the program, but I'm stood with this old guy, and he must have been about 90 years old, and he had 2 boxing gloves on a gold chain round his neck, and I thought I've no chance with him. And I said, "What do you think, mate?" And he just turned around to me, and went, "I totally get it. I'm going to do it. Where's the paper?" And signed up. He didn't. He totally got it. Bang, straight away.
Yeah.
Right. Well, listen. It is time to wrap it up. Unfortunately, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Karl.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for inviting me.
Honestly, so people out there, thank you for joining me. So, firstly, if you're in the north, or even if you're not in the north, join that group to sort those to sort those squirrels out, the grey squirrels in Knowsley. Join the Facebook group. Email Knowsley Safari Park to say, what the fuck are you doing? Do what you can on that side of things, folks. Pretend you live in Knowsley, order a trap, and then destroy it. Then, when Karl releases the fundraiser next week, if you fancy putting a bit of money into Karl's business, please do so. Please search him out on Instagram. Please contact him on email. Please find him on Facebook. You can easily find him, as we've put before. Just put in Karl Fogg in Facebook and look for a handsome guy, and he'll be there. So plenty of ways to do that. But thank you all for being on here. Thank you all for joining in, and thank you for all your input. I'm very sorry about the slow chat, but it stopped all you lot from arguing. Save the animals, save the planet, save yourselves. Go vegan, people.
Cheers, Danny.